Christy here with another video tutorial for the good members of the Photography for Beginners editing group. This is a special video just for Yann because he was very vocal, not in the group, but in the admin chat. He was very vocal about the uselessness of the pen tool. And so I wanted to make this video showing a great use for the pen tool. And I do challenge Yann to show me a way to get the effect that I'm going to do in a way that is faster and more effective than what he calls an outdated tool. So you probably remember this image from the group, my Superman shot. In the final image, there was a skyline that I made. Somebody asked if it was a backdrop that I had purchased, and the answer is no. I did it really quickly in Photoshop using the pen tool. So I'm going to show you now how I did that, and it really only takes a couple of minutes, and it's super easy. So the first thing you want to do is create a new layer. Anytime you're going to add anything to your picture, it's always easier to create a new layer because if you don't like what you've done, you can just drag the new layer back down to the trash can and it's gone. So to make a new layer, you just click this little thing that looks like a piece of paper with the corner folded. And when you've clicked that, it will make your new layer for you. And as I said, if you don't like it, you just click on it and you throw it in the garbage and it's gone. So, new layer. Now what I'm going to do is grab the pen tool. It's over here. If it's hidden, it might get hidden behind one of the other tools here. Whichever one that might have been used last will be the one that's up. So you'll click and hold and then select the first one, which is the pen tool. As you can see, the keyboard shortcut for that is the letter P. So if I am on a healing tool and I want to use the pen, I hit P and the pen tool pops up, and this is what it looks like. Now the pen tool is great for anytime you want to really precisely freehand any kind of shape that isn't already included in your custom shapes. So to do that, if you click, you just get a point. If you click and drag, you get this wonderful curve, and it's a flawless curve. It's wonderful. Uh, you can adjust how you want it to curve, and I haven't let go of the mouse button, so all of this is with that single click. If you don't like where you place the point, you can hold the space bar and move it around. Otherwise, it will stay where you put it. And it's a little tricky to get the hang of, and it does take practice. The shape is going to be determined by how far out you drag those arms. And after the fact, I can hold the Alt button and adjust where that arm is, and it will change how the next point goes. And it's a tool that requires a lot of practice to master, but for what I'm going to do today, anyone can do it. So with the pen tool, if you hold the shift button, it's going to make your straight lines fit almost like a grid. So if you're trying to click at an angle and you hold the shift button, you will by default get a 45-degree angle. If you're trying to make a right angle and you hold the shift button, Photoshop knows, and that's what it will do for you. So to begin, I'm going to start off my image with just a click, and then I'm just going to hang on to the shift button here. And it doesn't even matter where exactly I am. As long as I'm not too close to a 45-degree angle, it will assume I want a straight line. So there, you see it made a straight line. Still holding that shift button, just going to kind of put it what might sort of look like a city skyline. Now here I'll go close to 45, and you can see Photoshop knew that that was what I wanted. And so I'm just going to keep going across. It's not hard at all. I'm literally just holding the shift button the entire time. And there. So then once I've done that, I'm just going to close it off. And you'll know it's going to close because when I hover over the final point, I get a circle by the pen tool. And that tells me that I'm closing that off. And it's done. So now, close to the line, I'm going to right click and say I can make a selection and fill that with a paint. I've already picked a shade of blue that I like, so I'm just going to say fill path. And that is what this line is. It's actually a path. So fill the path. Foreground color. I could choose the background color if I decide I wanted to use white. I could pick a color. Sometimes you have a content aware option. It's not going to do that, I think, because I'm on a blank layer. But I'm going to go with foreground color. Feather radius is 0 pixels because I want it to be a sharp line. If I wanted this to be in the background and my background was blurry, and I wanted this to look like it was far off in the distance, I could actually feather the radius, which is going to soften the line and make it blurred so that it looks like it's on that focal plane. But I want this to be sharp because that just suits the image best. So I'll say OK. And then I can right click again to delete the path. And this is what I'm left with, is the city skyline. I can adjust the opacity if I think that it's a little too harsh. And if I decide I want to change the color, I can just hold the control button and click on the Windows panel to reselect it. And then I can just say maybe something a little bit darker would work. And if I've got my selection tool selected, then when I'm inside any selection, no matter how I chose to select it, it will give me this menu. And I can just say fill, foreground color, and it changed it. Another way to do that is if I have anything selected, I can just throw it in there with the paint bucket tool. Just as simple as that. So that's that. Control D or Command D on a Mac to deselect it. Now, if I wanted to take this one step further, I could even add a texture to this. You know, my background does have some texture in it. Hard to see here, but you can see it's not actually a flat color. You know, there is some texture. So if I wanted to add texture to this building, the skyline, just so that it's not a boring flat color, I can actually go up to filter and do that. And go down to texture. On some images, if you find that the texture is grayed out, it may be that you need to change the mode to 8 bits, and that will allow you to select artistic or texture tend to be grayed out sometimes, depending on the image you're working on. I'll go into texturizer, and I'll just pick a nice subtle texture that I can add onto that. You can see I was already playing around, so the defaults look pretty good. And basically what I chose was sandstone, and I just turn the relief down. You can really crank that baby up, but it gets a little bit gaudy, and I just want something subtle so that in the print there's just a little bit of interest there. And I'll say OK on that. And that's going to bring me right back here, and you can see there's a bit of texture added. If you don't like it, you can just simply Control Z to undo it, and you're back to that. And you can play around with the texturizer. It's a really fun tool. And like I said, you may just want to adjust the intensity of the texture. I prefer subtle. That last one was a little bit strong for my taste. When you zoom in, you can see it's not quite as harsh looking as it is on the preview from being zoomed out. And that is it. That is a super fast way to do a city skyline. I mean, the entire video is only 8 minutes long, and I spent a lot of that going slow and explaining to you how I did it. I mean, you can whip out a skyline really in just a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, and it's a great way to use a pen tool. And Yann, honestly, I don't see any other tools in Photoshop that would do that quite that quickly. But I am open for suggestions, so that's my challenge to you, Yann, is to convince me that that pen tool just doesn't have any good uses. So again, thanks for watching the video. If you have ideas for edits that you want to see, or if there's any tools in your Photoshop or in your Lightroom that you're not 100% sure how to use, let me know. Somebody did ask a question this morning about how to get the menus in the right side on Lightroom. So perhaps with my last minute here, I'll just show where these menus come from. So by default, they should just be there. Sometimes if they get turned off, you have trouble finding them again. They all collapse with these little arrows. And I know when I first started in Lightroom, I didn't even notice that those arrows were there. And I'll just collapse them there. I am running out of time on the video. But you can see that they're there. If they're hiding, there's this little arrow here that will hide them on you, and you just have to click again to reveal them. You can also go up to Window, Panels, and everything is there. And if you check them or uncheck them, it will change what you're seeing. All right, 15 seconds left. Time to say goodbye. Hope you have a great day, guys. As always, give me some ideas for new videos. I'd love to share with you. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.